During this lecture, we're going to look at just a few theories that are out there that are related to leadership, and some we'll spend more time on, and some we'll go through a little faster. There are two kind of ways that you can approach leadership. One is people-oriented, and the other one is task-oriented. People-oriented focus is not super concerned with efficiency, but more concerned with communication and making sure everyone feels welcome and heard and free. Whereas task-oriented is far more focused on efficiency and completing the task at hand. Not so interested in or concerned with how people are feeling or with their input when it comes to producing or creating whatever it is that you're creating in your department. A way to look at this is in the form of the managerial grid. On the left, you see the concern for people. On the right is the concern for production. And depending on where you fall on your concern for production and your concern for people, you'll fall somewhere in this rubric here. Someone who's very concerned with production will be over here if they're not super concerned with people, and that would be authority compliance, someone who's just really concerned with production, whereas the high concern for people and lower concern for production would be up here with country club management. Impoverished management would be where you're not really concerned with either, not really involved at all, and the team management would be kind of the ideal where you're concerned with both and find a good balance. And then there's middle of the road management where you're kind of just maybe a little bit laissez-faire about both. But concerned enough that you do make time for both. And depending on your situation, each type will come in handy. There are times when impoverished management is necessary, when you need to just take a step back and let people just do their thing and not really manage at all. Whereas authority compliance is important, especially when it comes to safety. Say if you're teaching rock climbing and someone doesn't want to tie in their harness correctly, you can't just let them get with their way. You have to make them do it correctly or they don't climb. Whereas country club management will come in handy on occasion where, like, for say you're overseeing games and someone just doesn't want to participate. If you force them to participate, they're going to hate it. So you do need to let them have their way a little bit. So there are times when each of these might come in handy when they're useful, and each one of them has their time and their place. Here's a closer look at it. Similar to let me go back for a second. So this idea of concern for people versus concern for production is kind of where all of these theories are going to go. So we're going to look at a couple of other theories that put the same idea into play. There's the Likert system of management. People behave in different ways depending on their motivations. And so we can go through a few examples. There's the exploitive autocratic, which is someone who's really just concerned about efficiency for themselves, much more concerned for self than for the other people that they work with, getting the numbers in, getting the efficiency so you can look good. But it's your way, their highway. You don't let anyone have any say at all. They're really just doing what you tell them to do. And so there's no trust or communication. The leader really makes all the decisions. Here's a quick example of exploitive autocratic.
Who broke it? I'm not mad. I just want to know.
I did. I broke it.
No, you didn't. Tom?
Don't look at me. Look at Ben.
What? I didn't break it.
Huh, that's weird. How'd you even know it was broken?
Because it's sitting right in front of us, and it's broken.
Suspicious.
No, it's not.
If it matters. Probably not, but April was the last one to use it.
Liar, I don't even drink that crap.
Oh, really? Then what were you doing by the coffee cart earlier?
I used the wooden stirrer to push back my cuticles. Everyone knows that. Jerry.
Okay, let's not fight. I broke it. Let me pay for it, Ron.
No. Who broke it?
Ron, Donna's been awfully quiet.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Now, if you're going to say Donna, I broke it. It burned my hand, so I punched it. I predict 10 minutes from now, they'll be at each other's throats with war paint on their faces and a pig head on a stick. Good. It was getting a little chummy around here.
So Ron Swanson's character is exploitive autocratic. He doesn't want things to be chummy. He doesn't care at all about other people. He's really only concerned for himself and what he wants in the moment. And as entertaining as that clip is, it can be very not entertaining to work under somebody like this. But again, there are times when it needs to be your way, the highway. So this can be useful at different kinds. It's just a focus on production than it is on people. The next level up is on this Likert system is called the benevolent autocratic. And this is somebody who is interested in others as long as they can be in control. The phrase, they'll give you the shirt off their back as long as they can tell you how to wear it. It's kind of the idea here. If they allow for variance, they'll do it as a parent would. I'm doing this for you, but I know what's best. You can't think for yourself. And so there's no trust coming from the leader or the group in this, even though there is a little more concern for people, even though there's not much input from everyone. There's more concern for what they need. They just don't really consider what they really need. They'll say, well, I think this is what they want. This is what I want them to want. So this is what I'm going to give them, instead of taking into consideration what they would really like. Then there's the consultative, which is more along the lines of where you need to be moving toward. The motivation is to help people feel included, consider participation, people, their knowledge, their feelings, get their input, but the leader's decision is final. And this can be a really great place. It actually can be a pretty good place to land, where people's input is given, but you still have veto power as the leader to say, no, we're not going to do that. Or, we're going to do it anyway, even though you don't want to do it. There's trust there because there is still input given and received and sometimes taken. It just really depends on the moment. This can be a good way to manage things. Again, it's a balance between concern for people and concern for production. And then there's participative, which is very concerned with people. Everything about everything is a group effort. There's complete involvement, decision-making, consensus rather than a vote. A vote is where you're looking for majority, whereas consensus is everyone has to agree. Lots of trust and lots of working together. However, coming to consensus can be super hard. It can be impossible, especially if you have a couple people who are just not interested in changing their mind. It can be very difficult to come to a consensus. And so this is a good place to be, but it can be difficult as well. Again, I'm very much more concerned with people than it is with production. So if you look at this as a continuum, you start over here with exploitive autocratic, and this is the concern for production, and then move toward concern for people. It's like a continuum, and it works in that. It works in that way pretty well. All right, this will be part 1 for this lecture, and we'll do the second half on the next one.